Today I'm going to talk about an experience I had about 15 years ago, and it's not going to be my normal kind of video because I'm not going to chop it up, redo things and make it slick, or as slick as I can be. I'm going to just talk I'm going to talk to you like I would talk to a friend, except you can't talk back, which might be an advantage sometimes. But anyway, here goes. I'm going to set you a scene. Firstly, I've been thinking about doing this video, and I weren't sure if I should do this video because, I couldn't figure out if it was a good idea. So I've decided to do it anyway. There's two things that I was thinking about. I was thinking, yes, it's a good idea because, someone could listen to my experience and that may stop them from having the same experience, which potentially could save someone's life. That kind of made me thought, heck it, just do the video, don't worry about it. And the other thing was, if you're learning to drive, and I appreciate a lot of my audience are, then, I don't really want to make you more nervous, because when people are learning to drive, they're quite nervous. But on the grand scheme of things, I'm going to go with it. If you think it's terrible, let me know. So, I'm going to set the scene now. I'm going to tell you a story about a car accident that I was in. I'm going to tell you what it felt like, and how it went. So it was January 2005. I don't think it definitely wasn't New Year's Day actually. I think it was the 3rd or the 4th, so the very, very beginning, and it was really cold. It was a cold day. It was later on in the day. If it was like a morning, it probably would have been icy, but I think there wasn't really any ice on the road, although tyres are hard when they're cold, and below 7 degrees, which it certainly was, 7 degrees Celsius, tyres, summer tyres, which is what we use in the UK, we generally don't have winter tyres. They don't work very well. I'm not blaming it on the tyres, but it doesn't help. So, I was in a band. The band was called Glow 87, and I think that's probably because we used to play a lot of Blink 182 songs, and we were just copying the number thing, the whole number band. I think there was the band Sum 41. They were, the number thing's out, let's call us the Sums. That was just a music video they did, and it was just taking the mick out of that, really. Anyway, I digress. And we were hungry. And there was 4 of us in the band, and 2 friends that came over later after we had a day of band practice. So there's 6 hungry 17 to 18-year-olds. And a McDonald's was about a 10-minute drive. And where we were doing band practice was right in the middle of nowhere. It's in the country. It's in a place called Tendering. To be honest, once you've got a 15-minute drive to town, but where it is, if you haven't got a car, you ain't got many options. But 10-minute drive to McDonald's on a roundabout on a main road. So my friend, who had recently acquired a Fiesta, a Ford Fiesta, a 1990 Ford Fiesta. I think it was a 1.1 litre petrol. It was whatever one they did then, where it still had a carburetor, because that's the thing I remember about it. Even when I learned to drive, cars, which wasn't a million years ago, it was 16 years ago, cars didn't really have carburetors. You'd rarely find one, but he got a car with a carburetor, and it had a choke, so you had to pull the choke out to start it and pump the gas. I've not had that much experience in cars where you actually have to do that. So I kind of joked about it. We all kind of did a little bit, because it really was a bit of a relic. Even for the time, it was like very slow. It was like a tin can on wheels, basically. And he recently acquired that, and he said, I'll take my car to McDonald's. And I went with him, just me and him, to go to McDonald's to buy 6 hungry lads, lots of McDonald's. The journey there, okay, driving a little bit fast, I will say that for sure, but we got there okay. I don't really remember this bit. This is all kind of uneventful. Went into McDonald's, got the order that everyone wanted, and they gave us like a tray to take back with us, so we could take it back to the house. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat today, because this is where I was sitting in the crash. So I thought it just kind of would. In fact, I'm just going to put this on. It might be easier for me to relive it on the correct side of the car. So anyway, I had this big tray of McDonald's on my lap, and I thought, how the heck am I going to get this seatbelt on when I'm trying to balance 6 large fizzy drinks, lots of fries, and various burgers and various other things? And I was very, very tempted just to say, you know what, let's not bother. I can't be bothered. And I think a lot of people in my position now, I know particularly my friends, probably would have not bothered. But I made Marlon wait. It's my friend Marlon who was driving. I was like, no, I'm going to get my seatbelt on because I'm quite a particular person. I tend to put things in the same place all the time. I'm quite organised. And I was like, no, I have a rule. I wear a seatbelt when I drive a car, so I'm wearing a seatbelt. Yeah, so that was a bit of a faff. Got it on, and he's now driving back to my friend's house where we did the band practice. And he's driving very fast, and I like that. I love fast cars. Not that that was a fast car. In fact, actually, as I'm getting older, I quite like slower cars. I quite like driving slow cars fast. They're almost more fun than driving fast cars fast. You get to really push them. And I'm actually just as much to blame for what's about to happen as he is, because I'm actually going to him, but you can't go around that corner at X speed. You know, I'm sort of daring him to go fast because I love it. I love driving fast. I like feeling the car start to slide. It's a good feeling. I can't really explain it. It's just something I enjoy. It's one of the things I love about cars. And we've done that several times. And then we come up to this corner. I'm not going to tell you the speed. But it is too high. It's just way too high. I say, I'll bet you can't go around that corner at that speed. And he tried. He did try to. And in the process of trying to, the car starts to go sideways. It starts to go sideways like that, in that direction. And there's a Volvo on the other side of the road, a very big Volvo coming towards us, and we're heading at it at a rate of knots. And this little Fiesta versus this big estate, I think it's a Volvo 740 from memory, although it is a bit of a blur, was looking quite scary. But I never felt like, oh, this is it, you know, we're done for. The way we were going towards it, it felt like this is going to be bad, but I didn't feel like I was going to die. So Marlon steered the other way, tried to correct the steering, and it's not working. We're just heading at this Volvo. And suddenly, the car bites, gets grip, and it flips the other way. Now we're going this way. This, by the way, happened right outside an old people's home. I think it was an old people's home, judging by what happened a little bit later, in Tendering. In fact, I'll just right now bring up on Google Maps. I'll take a screenshot of Google Maps of where it was. It's just on this bend here. And there's a hedge here. And there was a very big piece of concrete around about here. And now I'm heading this way, heading at that bit of concrete. And that feels very different to the car. And it probably is better than the car, but from how I felt about it, that felt bad. I actually thought, oh, you know, probably shouldn't say that. I might have, I would have beeped that word out. Now we are done for. Sayonara. Gonna die. Because heading towards this big concrete, it's a big, just solid bit of concrete. I think we're just gonna hit that thing and be toast. And what people say about, you know, your life flashes before your eyes is it's not really true for me, but something is similar. For me, the world slowed down. Everything just sort of slowed. And I remember having quite a bit of time to actually think about this and think, oh, I'm only 17 and that's it. And being the sort of person, and I've been this kind of person for a long time, I actually like getting older. I know a lot of people don't. I'm 33 now, freshly 33. I was 33 a week ago. And I actually much prefer being 33 than I did being 23. And the same was true when I was 17. I much preferred being 17 than I was being 15. Life tends to get better for me as I get older, and I've realised that. And I look forward to it because I'm a bit of an old fart. I don't like partying very much, and I quite like what older people do. And as I get older, my friends start to do what older people do a little bit more. So I was thinking, I'm not going to get to enjoy all those things that older people do because of this. It's over. And I think the reason why time slows down as well, obviously your brain must speed up. There must be some sort of survival instinct, because if your brain speeds up, then everything else around you appears slow because you're thinking faster. I think it's just enough, it's just to give you that chance to survive, that you can think quickly and get yourself out of a situation. But when you're strapped in a car, hurtling towards something, and you've got probably about half a second, there's not a lot you can do. So anyway, smash straight into it. Everything goes black. But I'm not unconscious. I can hear what's happening. I can feel that I'm moving around, but I can't see. I'm trying my hardest, and I really remember this really quite well. I'm trying my hardest to see. I'm trying to open my eyes as hard as I can. Like, why can't I see anything? I can feel, I can hear, and I'm being tossed about. And I say all I can feel several, but the main thing I can feel is this thing here holding me in place. And I remember feeling so grateful that at the moment this thing is stopping me being flung about. That's really could feel this. Being thrown around a lot, and then it stops and I still can't see. And the first thing I think of, the moment that happens, I straight away try to move my feet. I like, I'm still conscious, I'm still here. Can I move my feet? Can I move my feet? Yes, I can move my feet, but I still can't see. Probably the reason why I'm doing that, because tragically, I know someone who did break their neck about 3 years prior to that as a passenger in a car themselves. So as a result, he can't move a lot of his body. So I think that's probably why that was one of the first things I thought of, because that's what I was really scared of. If I'm not dead, I'm paralysed. Fortunately, I'm not paralysed. At least I don't think I am, because they're working at the moment. And the next thing I'm thinking about after that, it's Marlon. How's Marlon? And at about the same time, we both start asking each other how you're awake. How are you? You okay? Etc. Etc. And luckily, yep, he's awake. He's talking. Great. And then I can start to see. I start to get my vision back, and the car is on its side. So there's no window here. This is now pavement. This has been smashed. Basically, I've got a pavement here. The dashboard has gone. The window, the front windscreen has gone. Pretty much most of the things in the car had exited the car. And he's dangling there from his seatbelt. And I just said, don't take your seatbelt off. I remember saying that many times, because I didn't want, 11 stone of Marlon landing on me, especially after this, because I was feeling a little bit thinking, well, I could have broken something. I don't know how things are, so I wanted to be a bit careful myself. And I thought this is a good time to exit the vehicle. So I took my seatbelt off and I sort of managed to clamber around. Obviously now I'm standing here, and because the window now, instead of being like that, is actually like that, the front window, it was quite easy just to walk on out. And I started thinking, I forgot to mention something. This bit, because I had a lot of McDonald's on me, I was actually completely covered in, I don't know if they sell 7-Up or Sprite, one of the lemonades, because I always get lemonade, and the rest were Coca-Colas. Completely covered in that. I am soaking wet and it's freezing, and I've got bits of burger, lettuce, chips. I'm just basically a McDonald's food disaster all over myself, and I'm really cold. As I get out feeling, you're wet when it's cold, you get cold quite quick. I wasn't wearing a lot of clothes, just normal clothes, because you're in a car, it's not that cold in the car. So I get out, very, very cold, covered in McDonald's, and then watch Marlon try and get out the car, take his seatbelt off, and somehow he managed to get out without hurting himself. And I started thinking, all right, where's my phone? And I had an old Nokia phone at the time, and even though that had been thrown from the car and I fell in it a little bit up the road amongst some debris, perfectly fine. So I can't remember which Nokia model. It wasn't the famous 3210 that everyone says. I had one of those. That was a bit before. I think I had one of those when I was at school still. It was a very early camera phone. Really, really bad. It's when you would call a phone a camera phone. It's like, oh my God, I've got a phone with a camera. It's a camera phone. Now, you know, phones just have cameras. If it doesn't have a camera, it's a bit weird, really. I don't think I can think of a phone without a camera. So I started calling some people, saying what's happened. We weren't that far from my friend's house, so really quite close actually. So they then took the 5-minute walk to come and meet us. I don't think I called the emergency services. Someone I called then called the emergency services. And then I started thinking, all right, where's my wallet? Couldn't find my wallet anywhere. I'll come back to that later. And so friends came, fire service turned up, man in the Volvo was there because he witnessed it. Ambulance turned up. I cannot remember the police turning up. I really can't. I don't think they got involved at all, to be honest, because no one got hurt, and they might have got involved later, but I don't remember that at all, because the only damage was Marlon's car and this big concrete thing that we hit, which was no longer where it was. It had actually moved quite a bit further into this car park of this old people's home, leaving a pretty sizable hole in the ground because it was obviously buried in the ground. And anyway, they come, and then all the people, a lot of these old people come out of this old people's home and start giving us blankets to be warm, which was very nice of them. That's why I knew that it was probably an old people's home. And then we got in the ambulance. I remember seeing before we got in the ambulance, I remember seeing the car being put back on its wheels and then lifted onto some sort of flatbed truck. Anyway, then we got in the ambulance and then we drove to hospital. Not very eventful, so I don't really remember much of that. I do remember that I was quite hungry, and I do remember that waiting in A&E took a hell of a long time. And I was thinking, oh yeah, we'll just get a quick check over. I don't think I've ever been to A&E before, so I thought, yeah, we'll go there and then go back. And I ended up spending I don't know what time it was, many hours in this place for a doctor to come look at me. I think it was actually some sort of nurse. I really don't know much about that kind of industry. And yep, I had a bit of glass in my head, so whoops, I don't know if you heard that. That was just a branch from a tree landing on my car. Yeah, so a bit of glass in my head. Took that out, and we said, on your way, basically. Fine, no problems at all. And the same with Marlon. So, and I felt okay. It didn't hurt. I wasn't actually hurting, which surprises me because, you know, what happened. Went back to his house and went back to my friend's house, the house we were originally going back to. We're all still together as a group of friends, and we ended up ordering our Chinese and having a Chinese instead. Finally, get to eat. Ages, so hungry. Next day though, next day was a bit of a different story. The next day I could barely move. This is where it kind of like hit a little bit, and I could move, but it was really hard for about 2 weeks. It got better over the course of the 2 weeks, but I was affected for 2 weeks, and it was like being like tied to a crucifix. I was just standing up, sitting. I couldn't bend over. Twisting your head, not possible. I was really stiff. It was like I'd turned to stone, basically. So whatever trauma had happened during the accident, probably got adrenaline and other things, doesn't set in. The actual problems that you're getting from that doesn't set into a few hours later after sleeping. It's a bit like doing sport and then you wake up at ache, but times that by about 23,000. That's kind of how it was. And I still had my car. I slept at my friend's house. I still had my car with me. And I remember for about a week after that, I was quite nervous about being in a car with someone, not driving myself. When I was driving myself, I was okay. But I remember being in the back of my friend's Vauxhall Corsa and him going around some corners, and me just thinking, even though he's not going that fast, the back end's going to come out, the back end's going to fly out. And oh, there's a slight little bit of lean there around that corner. We're going to go flying around again. About a week or so, I sort of got over that. I'm still not the greatest passenger. If I'm in a car when someone's driving fast, I won't accept it. If someone's driving badly, like a taxi drivers in the UK tend to drive fairly poorly. I tend to bite my tongue if it's just like, oh well, you know, that's not exactly technically how you do. I don't care if it's not technically how you do something. I really don't care. But if someone's being dangerous, I'm going to say something. And if they're not going to stop being dangerous, I'm getting out of that car. So I don't want to be in a position where someone else could cause me harm. And I don't blame my friend Marlon for this. I don't blame him at all for what happened, because I was egging him on, and in his shoes I probably would have done the same thing. You know, you learn from your mistakes. What happened to my wallet? That's a good point. I was talking about the wallet. The next day, or was it the day after? I think it was the next day. We went to a breaker's yard or some sort of salvage place to see his car, to try and find my wallet, because I thought, well, I might have left it in the wallet. Well, I'm sure I put it in my pocket. Couldn't find it anywhere. And I've changed the subject a little bit now, but hey, as I say, this is I'm talking to you like I would do a friend. I'm not making a video like I would normally do. Couldn't find it anywhere, but the car was a state. As I said, nothing seemed to much survive in the car. And I think one of the reasons why we survived it was the fact we hit just a solid object and then rolled a lot, so we didn't stop instantly. There was nothing that entered the car that hurt us, and because it was a newly acquired car by my friend, there's nothing in it. He didn't have time to accumulate loads of junk in the back or the boot, so there was nothing to hit us as we were flying around. But the car was a real state. Like this was bent. The front wheel on my side, because we hit on my side, was no longer in the front wheel arch. It had compressed itself into the body of the car where the door is. I don't think I'd have been able to open that door if the car was the right way up. I mean, I couldn't open the door because there's a pavement here, but also the archway of the car where the wheel goes, there wasn't really much of that left either. That had compressed, and the whole car was just twisted. There was not a part of it that hadn't been touched from that crash. I should say that should probably be a category A or B write-off. You're not going to ever want to recover that car. It just wouldn't be safe. I don't think he went through the insurance either, to be honest with you. I think he just thought, well, I'm young, insurance prices would go up. It was a cheap car. I just lose the money on the car, not notify anyone about it, and just go on from there. Got lucky, got away with it, really, to be honest with you. And that's really one of the reasons what made me make this video is wear this. You know, this, I don't think I would be here right now if I didn't wear this. And the fact that I very nearly didn't put it on, and it's like the only time I probably wouldn't have worn a seatbelt, and it would have been because I always wear it. I can't think of a time where I haven't worn it. So that would have been just bad luck, wouldn't it? I might still be here. I might have got away. I might be lucky. I might have been thrown from the car and survived. But then, you know, I don't think so. I think, to be honest with you, hopefully that seatbelt's not on that microphone. Well, it might have been actually. Oh, damn it. Hopefully this video hasn't been muffled from the seatbelt on the microphone. If it is, I will probably do it again, because that'll just be a disaster. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, wear your seatbelt, honestly, and drive sensibly. It's fun, but it's just not worth it. I've learnt my lesson from that. I do track days, and I'll be honest, when I do a track day, I'm very happy to drive very sensibly on the road. I don't feel the need to drive quick on the road. It's like, in fact, after doing a track day, when I'm on my way home, I'm really happy to drive really sedately, because you're so fed up of driving as fast as you possibly can. It takes a lot of effort. Driving on the limit takes a hell of a lot of concentration. It's really hard on the car. It's hard on you. And then after you've got that out of your system, it's quite nice just to have a nice little mellow, changing up the gears nice and early and smooth, and just cool down a little bit on the way home. It's quite expensive though. and obviously you need a car to do it in. If you want me to make a video on track days, then let me know. Let me know in the comments. I can't do a track day for some time because of this lockdown. I haven't earned as much money as I normally, and I've earned a lot less. So track days are the first thing to go. They are a luxury. If I do well, if I have a good month, I might treat myself to a track day. But I can do a video on them, tell you what they're about, the rules, what sort of car you need, brakes, that's the important bit. Yeah, how much they cost, all the sorts of things. I can go into that. If there's enough people who have got this far into this video and actually want that video, and I think it might get some views, I'll do that. Is there anything else that I want to say and include in this? I think I've told you all there is. I hope you stay safe. I'm still going to plug my sponsors in this video. So anyway, yeah, if you are learning to drive or want to insure your own car, Collingwood are brilliant. If you're learning to drive, Collingwood are brilliant because you can insure yourself on somebody else's car without affecting their policy. And as I've said on my other videos, that takes a big stress out of learning to drive. And I think what they do, the reason why they sponsor me, the reason why I promote them is because they're my favourite. And if you use the link in the description, you do get a benefit. There is a financial benefit to you, and it does support my channel. If you're insuring your own car, however, sorry Collingwood, I would probably go and check Confused out. Check both of them out, but I find for insuring your own car as a young driver, I tend to get the better price with Confused. One of the best prices normally is with Confused. And again, if you use the link in the description, that does support the channel. Well, that's the end of this very different video. Another reason why I've done this video, because normally these videos I do take me a whole day to make, and I've just started working again because I'm allowed to. And this is my day off. I don't fancy spending this whole day working. I haven't played golf in a very long time, and it's really windy outside, so I'm thinking this is a good time, a good day, if anyone is willing to join me to go and play some golf. It's been probably about a year, and as it's windy, I've got the perfect excuse for playing terribly. So if you want to get my future videos back to normal business, hopefully next time, subscribe, and please leave the like as well if you like the video. Until the next one, just an add-on to the end of that video, I watched it back briefly and I realised I never did tell you what happened about my wallet, because we went to go and find my wallet, but I think it was about 2 days later the police contacted me to say they had the wallet. So yes, the police did get involved, and they said they found the wallet underneath the car, so therefore the police must have been there. I don't remember them being there, but they must have been there during the recovery. It makes sense, because you'd think they would be there. This is over 15 and a half years ago now. So they found it underneath the car. So basically, somehow it left my pocket. I'm pretty sure I left it in my pocket, or it might be in this door bin, but I don't tend to put my wallet in there. And had gone out the car and then got flattened, and it was basically split in half. So luckily, the wallet went out the door, or out the window, wherever it went, and I didn't. Anyway, now the video is truly over.